Hi everybody, just another session here for our Tantra course. So I'm trying again, I always say trying to make it a little bit shorter for this session, and it will be on the second of the three principal paths, this being Bodhicitta, or the awakening mind. So we'll just start with the Heart Sutra. On its perfection wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I've heard, at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir, and mass vultures bound together a great assembly of monks and nuns, a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that time also Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the price of profound perfection wisdom, looking perfectly at the five aggregates, being empty of inherent existence. Then through the power of Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly also at the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is none other than form, form is none other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shall I put it like this? All phenomena are empty as having no characteristics. They are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so forth, up to no mentality element, also up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest complete Buddhas in state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequal mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since this not false, should be known as the truth. Mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed, Tayatam Gata Gata Paragata Parasamdaya Bodhisattva. Shariputra, bodhisattva, great beings, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration and said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he had spoken well. Good goes on the lineage is like that, since it's like that, just to be revealed in that way, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagata will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, the entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. We'll do just a few short prayers here to start our practice before we get into the teachings. So again, as usual, we can visualize ourselves as seated in a wide open space, ground like lapis lazuli, flat and smooth to the touch, warm, easy to sit on, beautiful dome of a blue sky above us, and ourselves surrounded by all sentient beings, the six realms of samsara, so Mother on our left, Father on our right, people we love the most behind us as support, and people we have issues with, karmic debts with, in front of us as objects of our compassion. Again, moving out from there, people from all over the world, living beings from the animal realm or the natural environment here, all the different living beings, from the very small to the very big. Countless beings in the spirit world, all the different dimensions. Celestial beings like gods and demigods and goddesses and so forth. And countless beings in lower states of existence, or the nightmare realms, different hell realms, and hungry ghost realms. All of us are here together, like in a big family, meditating and practicing together. So let's just visualize in the sky above us, in front of us, the embodiment of the three jewels and all holy beings, all light beings, the higher form of Buddha Shakyamuni, conqueror of Vajradhara, We'll keep it simple today. He's just like floating in space with a beautiful sapphire blue body made out of light or energy. Wearing a crown, he's in lotus position, and his arms are crossed at his heart, holding in his left hand a bell and right hand a dorje or thunderbolt scepter. Wearing beautiful sort of silk robes and ornaments and jewelry and so forth. And his crown is home letter in Sanskrit or Tibetan, or in English, HUM. On a sun disk there. Blue and beautiful rainbow light, white, blue, green, red, and yellow coming out like a big sort of ball. Blessing us with this energy. Again, taking refuge from our hearts here in the three jewels. I and all sentient beings intuitive alignment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings intuitive alignment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings intuitive alignment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Generating the awakening mind of great compassion, wanting to get enlightened for the welfare of all. Generating Bodhicitta here through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving and other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. And through the virtues we collect by giving and other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Generating now love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. And may everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. Now, doing our 7-limb practice as a way of making our practice Buddhist here. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate and make offerings both set out and imagine. I confess my wrong deeds from all time and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to great enlightenment. And now, just before we do the absorption, let's just open our hearts by making sort of a beautiful sort of offering, sort of from our heart, generous offering, visualizing a whole purified universe of all beautiful things to conquer Vajradhara here. And again, the circle of reciprocity, we make offerings to the spirit world. Spirit world sends compassion, wisdom, blessing energy back, sort of in a cycle. Just two forms of giving and receiving here. So making the mandala offering, the ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land and offered thus. May all beings enjoy such pure lands. Send forth this jewel mandala to you, precious gurus. Okay. So while we recite this, let's just visualize the short Lam Rim prayer. Let's just visualize that beautiful, just feel in your mind, beautiful blue light, sort of sapphire blue light, if you like, or the rainbow colors of white, green, blue, yellow, and red are coming down. Just sort of like sunshine for ourselves and all sentient beings around us, blessing our mind, giving us positive energy. The path begins with strong reliance on my kind teacher, source of all good. I'll bless you with this understanding to follow him with great devotion. This human life with all its freedoms, extremely rare with so much meaning, I'll bless with this understanding all day and night to seize its essence. My body, like a water bubble, decays and dies so very quickly. After death comes the results of karma, just like the shadow of a body. With this firm knowledge and remembrance, bless me to be extremely cautious, always avoiding harmful actions and gathering abundant virtue. Samsara's pleasures are deceptive, give no contentment, only torment. So please bless me to strive sincerely to gain the bliss of perfect freedom. Oh, bless me so that from this pure thought comes mindfulness and greatest caution, to keep as my essential practice the doctrines root the pratimoksha. Just like myself, all my kind mothers are drowning in samsara's ocean. Oh, so that I may soon release them, bless me to train in bodhicitta. But I cannot become a Buddha by this alone without 3 ethics. So bless me with the strength to practice the Bodhisattva's ordination. By pacifying my distractions and analyzing perfect meanings, bless me to quickly gain the union of special insight and quiescence. When I become a pure container through common paths, bless me to enter the essence practice of good fortune, the supreme vehicle, Vajrayana. The two attainments both depend on my sacred vows and my commitments. Bless me to understand this clearly and keep them at the cost of my life. By constant practice in 4 sessions, the way explained by holy teachers, bless me to gain both the stages which are the essence of the Tantras. May those who guide me on the good path and my companions all have long lives. Bless me to pacify completely all obstacles, outer and inner. May I always find perfect teachers and take delight in holy Dharma, accomplish all grounds and paths swiftly, and gain the state of Vajradhara. Now from the heart, holy being here, Vajradhara, streams of light nectar flow down, granting blessings and purifying. So again, we can just feel the blue light and or the rainbow light of white, green, blue, red, and yellow coming down, blessing our minds, raising our energy, spiritual energy level, and making us more open-hearted and positive. And we must please, great Guru, conquer Vajradhara, grant us your blessings of body, speech, and mind. And we can feel that he gets very, very small, starts to shrink and just turns into very sort of small, almost like a little piece of sapphire or a blue diamond, lighter energy. And like a shooting star comes to the crown of our head, enters our central channel, and then slowly descends in front of our heart, like just sort of midline here in front of our spine, so to speak. Central channel down to our heart level. And once he gets to our heart, just feel that he dissolves into our heart, giving us all the wisdom, compassion, power of all the Buddhas, their realizations and powers and so forth. You feel great, great sort of spaciousness, awareness, compassion, and wisdom, and joy and bliss. And we just sit here a moment here. So just coming out of meditation now. Again, just sort of integrating this awareness into ourselves. So the chapter here from Lama Yeshe, you can read, it's called Opening the Heart. So just with renunciation, and now with even the next class coming on emptiness, wisdom realizing emptiness. I've taught a number of classes on this. So if you just look at the YouTube channel and go into the sutra teachings, even just on the three principal paths, for instance, there's a lot of material on this. And so I don't want to repeat myself here. You can, at your own leisure in time, go and look at these videos. And of course, there's just a plethora of stuff online on YouTube, TikTok, whatever else, Wikipedia, and amazing videos by far more illustrious, amazing, enlightened beings rather than me, whether it's His Holiness Dalai Lama or all the other great lamas around today. And even from different traditions, of course, Mahayana traditions. We can look at other Japanese, Chinese groups, for instance, and other Western groups or whatever, talking about compassion, love, and bodhicitta. So there's plenty of material out there for you to watch and to look at and to learn. I just wanted to obviously cover this part because it's so essential for our study of Tantra. So I'll just try and, again, keep it a little bit short and just try and get a little bit pithy with this. So Lama Yeshe says that our spiritual purpose is to experience a type of peace and happiness that is stable and reliable, unruffled by the changing circumstances and uninfluenced by the passage of time. So we move into this by moving out of the cycle of dissatisfaction, which we've talked about at length in these classes here. And we're motivated to activate a deeper level of our being. Now that we have some renunciation, no longer want our cycle of addiction to dissatisfaction, but rather the realization of our deepest potential that constitutes our spiritual path here. But Lama Yeshe says, the emphasis is still, I want this and I don't want that. In other words, I don't want the sufferings of samsara, the addiction, the dissatisfaction, the sort of bottomless pit of existential angst and anxiety and everything else that I can't fill, I can't get rid of, this sort of, sufferings and absurdities and so forth. I want this transcendent spiritual happiness, this bliss, this joy. But again, the narrow concern for our own happiness, our own liberation, makes it impossible to realize the vast potential of our human mind and heart. Our self-centered values, the welfare of just one being, myself, over the welfare of countless others who share life's problems with us and are just like us. Okay, this restricted view causes our heart to close, or it never allows our heart to open. As long as we remain so tightly focused on our own happiness, in temporal or ultimate, we will never experience the expansiveness of a truly open heart. If we wish to fulfill our highest potential, and even get a certain mundane, worldly satisfaction, we must overcome our self-cherishing, dedicate ourselves as fully as possible for the welfare of others. This is the only way to achieve a complete open heart, only way to experience lasting happiness in our lives. So at this point, we have to, just like we have a true, the Kadampas always say we need a proper motivation, a proper dedication, the two bookends to our practice. In other words, our intention, if we want to make it a Mahayana or a great scope, big view spiritual practice, we have to have bodhicitta as our intention. In other words, everything we do should be put towards the welfare, the enlightenment, full realization, full spiritual potential, and sort of transcendent happiness for all sentient beings. May we become Buddha, that we are able to facilitate this. And may we become Buddha, that we lead all sentient beings to the same state, that they be able to become Buddhas and help other beings as well. That's sort of the main bodhicitta awakening mind intention. And then when we're done our practice, we dedicate the exact same thing. We just say, okay, everything we've done here, all the energy we've cultivated, everything may be put towards this ultimate goal of bodhicitta. So, there's a great quote here by Shantideva. Of course, you see this in Lama Chopa as well, but if you read the absolute masterpiece, classical masterpiece of Gayatri Bodhisattva's Way of Life, there's the great line or verse there from a famous Buddhist saint, Shantideva: all the happiness in the world, all the unhappiness of the world, all the suffering comes from a mind wishing itself to be happy. All the happiness of the world comes from a mind wishing others to be happy. So I've talked about all this before, about sort of generating bodhicitta. I guess just sort of speaking more off the cuff here, we always have to, again, Trungpa Rinpoche in Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism warns us against spiritual materialism, and that he says that We can do things without even a proper Hinayana or sort of a proper spiritual renunciation, in the sense that we can be doing all of our spiritual practice just with our own worldly welfare in mind. So even this could be done on an unconscious level, which is why we need a community of support, different practitioners to kind of call us on our shit, so to speak, as well as our teachers that are always kind of monitoring us, giving us positive feedback, so we don't end up kind of lying to ourselves or misleading ourselves even on an unconscious level, right? So we don't want our spiritual practice caught in the quote-unquote 8 worldly dharmas. This is classic sort of renunciation material from the Sutric path, where basically I don't want my spiritual path to be about material things. In other words, getting stuff, getting money, these kinds of things. And then, in other words, being motivated by that, being totally happy, having that as my main focal point, or being upset when I don't get those things, getting what I don't like, or not getting what I'm shooting for materially, not getting money, losing money, all these kind of things, getting stuck in that. Or wanting comforts, pleasures, enjoyments, conveniences, and being upset when we don't get those things, or get the reverse, pain, inconvenience, discomfort, those kinds of things. Wanting a reputation, wanting to be famous, especially nowadays, all on social media and TikTok and Instagram. I want all these followers, or even me on YouTube. How many people are subscribing to my channel? Not a lot, as you can see. But anyway, I'm getting caught in that. I want a reputation. I want people to see me. Hey, look at me, I'm famous. Please pay attention to me. And then being upset when we don't get that, or worse, getting a bad reputation. Oh, I want everyone to pay attention. I want to be famous, but rather now I'm infamous. Everyone knows me, but in a bad way. They all hate me. All think I'm a loser or whatever. Or finally, praise and blame. I want people to be nice to me all the time. I want people to praise me, say nice things about me. I always want to hear nice stuff being said about me. I don't want bad things being said about me, being blamed all the time, or criticized, or made fun of, or disrespected, put down online, or whatever, right? Or even worse, being ignored, right? As I think it was Jane Mansfield always said, that it was taken up by all these other Hollywood stars, where they said the only thing worse than bad publicity is no publicity. In other words, if I'm completely invisible and ignored now, no one watches my videos or looks at my posts or pays attention to me at work, or even my family doesn't care, blah blah blah. So we can see, as long as we're caught in this whole kind of matrix of worldly intentions, we just turn the wheel of samsara over and over and over and over again. So spiritual materialism is when our spiritual practice is caught in those things, right? So we need, even on sort of a sutric level, or proper, at least even a Hinayana motivation, where we have the 3 higher trainings of ethics, moral discipline, concentrated mind, where I renounce my distractions, and so forth, and finally wisdom, realizing emptiness. This is the real Hinayana path, a path of personal liberation that'll take me out of samsara. But as sort of a great scope practitioner, big view practitioner, all of this is motivated by love or compassion. So even on a sutric level, everything we have to be doing is about loving and taking care of other people. So in Tantra, because it's a Mahayana practice, all of our Tantric practice should be motivated with this. The only reason, from a Tantric point of view, we should be doing Tantra is because we're caring for others, right? We're, just like Shantideva says, we see that all the unhappiness in the world comes from a self-cherishing mind, spiritual materialism, whatever we want. All the happiness of the world comes from caring for others, loving others, cherishing other people. So even the way Buddhism is taught now in the West, not being critical, but it's taught as basically a self-help thing, or a therapeutic tool. Now, of course, Buddhism is a therapeutic tool, but the intention's different. So again, how Tantra is taught nowadays is as a basic form of self-help psychology, right? Having a bad day, say the Tara mantra. Having self-esteem issues, self-generate as a deity. Having problems with people at work, well, have peer review and all go away. So the point is, again, you have to check the intention. Why am I doing this? Am I just doing it for the 8 worldly dharmas, or self-cherishing? Is that why I'm doing all this? Is this just another psychological self-help technique, like whatever it was, The Secret years ago, or Tony Robbins. Not to make fun of that. I mean, there's a place for that. That's all great. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. But from a Buddhist point of view, a Tantric point of view, but that's just more samsara. And again, there are worldly intentions for worldly goals, worldly self-projects, and that's fine for what they are. But if we want to escape samsara, our Tantric practice in particular can't be another form of self-help therapy. There is no self, so who are you trying to help? But anyway, at the same time, we have to, on a practical level, do a lot of that stuff, that we be psychologically healthy and fit and grounded and not suffering acutely, that we be able to practice in the first place. So there's definitely a value for doing all that stuff, even in using Tantra for this kind of basic psychological, psychic, emotional, physical well-being, that we be in a good place to meditate from the start in the first place. If we have emotional, psychological, psychic, physical health issues, mental health issues, emotional health issues, physical illnesses, we can't practice. We're too sick. Sick of the mind, sick of the body, sick in our emotions, sick in our psychic mind, that we can't sit still, we can't practice, we can't study, we can't be a better person. How can we care for others if we can't even care for ourselves? How can we be of service to others if we're a complete mess? Others have to take care of us. So rather than helping others, everyone's helping us. So we have to sort of start with that kind of stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using these tantric techniques for psychological and therapeutic reasons, as long as you get past seeing that as the final endpoint. That's not the final intention for any of this. What we're looking at is a decidedly, quote unquote, anti-humanist, beyond human goal, spiritual goal, becoming completely enlightened for the welfare of others, not making our worldly life, again, easier, better, more healthier, more together, right? Those are just temporary conditions we will use to dedicate towards a higher goal. Yes. So Lama Yeshe says, as long as we quest after self-happiness, we'll never experience the true happiness of the fully enlightened mind. To reach the highest destination, full enlightenment, we need to cultivate the highest possible motivation for our spiritual path, which is bodhicitta. To achieve full enlightenment in order to be of most benefit to others. It's only through dedicating ourselves and making the happiness of all beings, bodhicitta, can we experience the supreme happiness ourselves. Lama Yeshe says, check your experience. When you have developed bodhicitta in your heart, all good things in life are magnetically attracted to you, effortlessly pour down on you like rain. We attract good friends, good food, good everything. But at present, our heart is filled with self-cherishing, and all we do is attract misfortune. So bodhicitta is the only way to break out of our neuroses of self-cherishing and opening our hearts to others. When we are concerned with others, we aren't so concerned or overwhelmed by our own problems. Compassion for others replaces self-pity for ourselves, and we get the wisdom and strength from within to overcome our problems. So, two things here. I like this one last thing. He says, once we create an open space in our consciousness, we take on a much more universal character. We're no longer confined in our own petty reality. We move to a larger sphere of universal concern. This liberates us from most of our problems to begin with. The burden of self-concern drops, and we experience a taste of complete freedom that comes from full spiritual fulfillment. So we see that our main intention for all of this, for Tantra, is all just about caring, loving, and being compassionate towards others. May we become Buddha, that we be able to do this 24/7. May we be Buddha, that we lead all sentient beings to be Buddha, that they do this 24/7. So we've talked about in our sutra classes the two ways of generating bodhicitta, sevenfold cause and effect, or equalizing, exchanging self with others. You can go look at that. Again, it's like seeing all beings as our mother. They're all equal that way, remembering their kindness, wanting to repay their kindness, wanting them all to be happy, seeing that they're suffering, and so deciding to live a life where we help out of love and compassion, wanting them to be happy, we help to remove their sufferings. How do we help remove their sufferings? Help them help themselves. To help them eventually learn the unity of karma of emptiness, the unity of wisdom and compassion, that they get enlightened, and find that true lasting happiness, that they're able to self-liberate from samsara and ultimately become enlightened, that we lead all sentient beings along that same path. Or equalizing, exchanging self with others from Shantideva, where we see everyone's equal in the sense that we all want to be happy, none of us wants to suffer. That's what we have in common with all beings. All of us want to be happy, none of us want to suffer. However, we are all suffering, so we must work to remove that suffering through great compassion, right? Taking on the sufferings of others, transforming it, giving love back, being the example for them, and being of service to them, and helping them, being sort of a catalyst for their own self-development, that they be able to self-liberate and become enlightened, right? So that's bodhicitta. Everything we're doing is for that reason. And Lama Yeshe says, it's very sweet, he says, when you sort of open your heart, you'll find right away, number one, caring about others. You're no longer stuck in this sort of hamster wheel drama of your own self-pity and sort of self-martyrdom in sort of all the stories we're always telling ourselves of the why me, that's not fair, this or that, blah, 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 always going on our head. We sort of step off that pendulum of sort of going back and forth between satisfaction, dissatisfaction, and all our self-projects, and just be open and happy and caring for others. And the more we care for others, we not only make them happy, but you see that we become happy doing that. And so sort of we see even through the classes on karma and emptiness, that what we put out is what we get back. So if we're really caring and being of service to other people, all this sort of purity and love comes back to us. Whereas vice versa, we're just focused on ourselves, us against the world, so to speak. We just attract all the negative problems and misfortunes. So I like this. He said, at present, our heart is filled with our self-cherishing, and all we do is attract misfortune. There is a great Korean movie from the early 1990s called Why Did Bodhidharma Come to the East? It's sort of a Korean Zen movie, Zoen movie. Excellent, really, really beautiful. It's probably free on YouTube. The other one I liked was, I can't remember the director's name, he's done a lot of good stuff, but he did that one, again, it's about 20 years old, called Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, Spring, another amazing Korean Zen movie. But the first one, Bodhidharma, Why Did Bodhidharma Come to the East? I've always remembered this one line. It's full of amazing images you'll never forget when you watch the movie. But he goes to study with this very hardcore, hard yogi, sort of Zen master, Soen master at the top of this mountain. Green, this young man, he's a monk. He sort of bored of the monastery, wants to go deeper, so he gets recommended to find this sort of really hardcore Zen yogi at the top of this mountain in this old dilapidated temple and study with him. Of course, sounds like a bit of a cliche, but he gets up there, and then there's another little orphan monk, little monklet, little boy monk, and he's helping the master. So the three of them sort of end up on retreat. But there's a great line where one day sort of the young man monk comes to the little boy monk, and the little boy monk says, like, you know, why are you here? Why did you come here? You don't have to be here. This is so hard. Why did you end up here? No one's here with us. Why are you doing this? And then the monks, I've always remembered, you say, I came here because there's no joy in my life, no peace in my heart, right? And as he says that, the old master comes up with the stick. He's like totally hardcore. And then he says, this is the line, it's beautiful. He says, the problem with the world, the problem with people. He said, the problem is that people do not have the space in their hearts for all living things or all things. They don't have the space in their heart for all things. And he says, that space is there, but it's filled with selfishness. That's a great line. And I think that the actual quote is, it's filled by concepts of clinging to self, something like that. But we could just sort of say filled with selfishness. So what's interesting, it is literally, if the mind is sheer awareness or sheer openness, it is just an empty space. What's it filled with? All you got to do is meditate and look. Do Mahamudra and look. All of it is filled with our self-cherishing thoughts, our self-grasping mind. This is, you know, you even read all the existential treatises and famous novels and so forth. You know, before a meaningless absurd universe, what am I doing? I'm just constantly trying to create a self so I don't die of this sort of deep angst and anxiety, right? Our mind at any moment is just constantly filled with thoughts and self-projects. So we have an open heart. It can have the entire world and all sentient beings in it. But what is it filled with? It's just filled with our selfishness. And that's where all of samsara comes from. So once we start cherishing others, we have this open space. Tantra gives us this space. It gives us the techniques to start opening our heart and fill it with other people. And that makes them happy, that makes us happy. And you see, like one of my favorite philosophers, Daniel Levinas, one of the great Jewish philosophers of the 20th century, he was a student of Husserl and Heidegger. And I'm not going to get into it. It's a very complicated philosophy. But again, highly recommend if you just feel like reading his books. His masterwork in the early 1960s is called Totality and Infinity. And then in the early 70s, Otherwise in Being. I just love him so much. Anyway, excellent, very, very sort of Jewish theological view on ethics is fantastic. I'm not going to get into it. But basically, what he wants to show, starting all his philosophy, all his books are pretty well the same. I mean, if you just read Totality, Infinity, you'll get sort of the basic concepts. But anyway, he always shows, like when you study Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit, he shows that basically from chapter 4 on desire all the way to absolute knowledge of the absolute concept is that the basic form of human reality is what he calls recognition. In other words, recognizing other people are just as equal. Kind of it's Kant's categorical imperative, seeing everyone as ends, not means. So seeing everyone as being an equal like being, and not having their own world, they're another center of the universe, they have their own self projects. So there's an equality here that on an ethical level has to be recognized and acted on. And when we're unaccountable, it's precisely because we're not recognizing people as others, as our equals, but we're seeing them again as means to our own self-actualization, means, in other words, props that we use, a means to an end for ourselves, and so we hurt other people, right? And other people hurt us in the same way. So what Levinas sort of takes us a little bit deeper, and he shows that basically all of our own self-actualization is due to other people. That always I'm finding other sentient beings in my heart, at the deepest nature of my mind. It basically, even in the language that I'm speaking, is always other people are there and I owe something to them. They need help, I need to help them. They've given me so much. In return, I'm going to be there for them because they've always already been there for me. So Bodhicitta is sort of based on that view. I'm not arguing that it's a Levinasian project. It's a little bit different, but at the same time, there is something about that. All of our tantric practice is sort of based on that understanding of opening the heart, being of service, caring for other people, which is why he finishes this chapter on the importance of equanimity. Equanimity is the basis for our love, the changing into compassion, great compassion, pure intention, and bodhicitta. In other words, it's by seeing the equality of everybody, right, that we're all together, we're all helping each other. Like, remember, he talks about, like the Buddha talks about, the idea of seeing all beings as our mothers, and also this idea that repaying their kindness. Everything that's ever been given to me in every moment is due to the kindness of others. And so there's this idea, well, I want to pay this back by being kind back and giving to others what they need. So they feel that they've been given kindnesses from myself, right? So this is an important thing. It's because of seeing that I can have what they call, first of all, affectionate love, that I actually like people. So from this, seeing the equality and the open, warm friendliness I have to someone with the mind of equanimity, I'm taking it a step further by actually caring about people. I like people and all sentient beings. Now I'm caring about them. I'm being affectionate for them. Then they say, to take it deeper, you see them as like being your children, like you're the grandfather, grandmother, that actually cherishes them. Because you see the identity in here that we're making all each other up and we're giving each other, making ourselves who we are in and through the kindness of others. And so we cherish them. From this cherishing comes wishing love. They say, well, you want beings to be happy. Once we see that they're not their suffering because we're in samsara. Hence the great compassion. We want to remove their suffering. How do we ultimately remove their suffering? Helping teach them to remove the suffering from themselves. How do we do that in the most ultimate sense? Again, bodhicitta. We become enlightened, a Buddha, so as an angel, 24/7, we can help people self-educate that they get to that same state themselves. That's what it means to do tantric practice. All tantra is about that. So nowadays, like I really like a lot of podcasts on magic and stuff, and I'm not criticizing it, but a lot of times you even have people presenting tantric ideas, and some of it's just ripped off tantric Buddhism, but for very worldly things. Oh, you want this, do this. You want a boyfriend like this. You want to manifest it, da, da, da. But really, I'm not criticizing that. People want to run around and do that. They can. But from a tantric Buddhist point of view, in a classical Buddhist sense, we're only doing this for bodhicitta. We're only doing this because we love and care about people. We want to be of service, and we want to help them. We want to help them self-educate and self-liberate. That's our liberation. Our liberation depends on them. Their liberation depends on us. This is the core heart. So really, it's all about opening the heart. And literally, we'll see on the deepest level of Anuttara Yoga, where we're trying to open the heart chakra, that's even on a psychic level what we're trying to do here. So we're not just doing it symbolically, figuratively, experientially, on like an energetic level, a practice level. That's exactly what we're doing. And again, why are we doing all the magic for it? It's again, just for an ethical reason. The ethical reason of caring for others, of loving others, of being compassionate to them, wanting to see them actualize their highest potential. So again, Lama Yeshe says, our bodhicitta is not some uptight, martyred, overly emotional stance or depressed mind or sort of a paralyzed mind, by compassion, but rather clear, easygoing, calm, wise mind, deeply felt compassion, attitude of opening the heart and leaving it as open as best we can. So he even says that once we get to this level, let me just see my notes here. Oh, in other words, I thought, so anyway, he talks about equanimity here, and he says that bodhicitta is necessary for Tantra. Practice Tantra because we have an unbearable compassion for others and want to get enlightened so others don't have to suffer. We want to help as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Tantra increases our scope of bodhicitta. So this is what's interesting. He says tantric deities expand, develop the dedicated heart of bodhicitta, and it is the cause and also the result. So of course, by self-generating as a deity in our tantric practice, it's easier to have an open heart. If we're self-generating and seeing everything as pure and doing everything as a loving angel would do, being sort of the hidden angel in people's lives, without a big ego, of course, it makes us easier to open our hearts, and then we get enlightened. You see the practice, that'll be the result. We'll actually end up being that angel. So we're bringing the final cause or final result as the path right now. We're bringing the end sort of as a cause, as the path itself that we're sort of manifesting or revealing it. And that's sort of how bodhicitta is both a cause and a result. Tantric practice as a practice of bodhicitta is a cause and a result. We end up manifesting or becoming what we're trying to be here. We end up sort of disclosing, revealing, or manifesting our highest wish and wish for others, which is how can we be a being of pure light and pure love. And then just quickly on a practical level, Lama Yeshe says, like even us just practicing a little bit, living a simple life with our heart dedicated to overcoming self-cherishing, this automatically benefits others. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche always said, you will heal the world and make the world a better place just by generating bodhicitta. So in the world, having this intention and living it, making a practice, living it as a life, the world will be a better place just having you around, being that way. Other people being around you when you're generating bodhicitta will find healing, will find truth, will find happiness, will find love. So you will be a light in the world, making the world a more lit, more beautiful place just by your active existing with bodhicitta. And again, that's a practice or path. And so then he, Lama Yeshe just quickly says is that he says our practice here is every moment, day after day. Do what we can, the best of our ability, dedicate for the benefit of others. Live our life simply and do our best. So a lot of times he says we have sort of a linear idea that holds us back from being good bodhicitta practitioners. In other words, it's like, just like he's like, this linear idea of going to school. In other words, if I'm in grade 7, I can't do work from grade 12. If I'm still in high school, I can't study for my PhD. I have to do everything one step in front of the other until I get to the top. Then I get my diploma or whatever. And he was saying that sometimes sort of a cartoon version of this can hold us back. In other words, we feel that we can't practice bodhicitta effectively or even tantra effectively unless we become perfect bodhisattvas in the first place, right? In other words, why bother even trying? I can't do this. It's too complicated. Anything I'm doing is tainted by my self-cherishing, so I'm not even going to bother taking it up. I'd have to perfect myself first, then I'll practice bodhicitta, then I'll practice tantra. And of course, Lama Yeshe says, this is a practice. It doesn't work that way. You don't become an excellent swimmer by studying books and never getting in the pool. This is the famous criticism of medieval scholasticism they always had, is people that are studying how to swim by never getting wet. You actually get your hands dirty every day by practicing bodhicitta in sort of the jungle of the world, being of service, caring for people. That's the path. That's how you get better. The more you practice bodhicitta, the more your heart opens, right? The better your tantric practice becomes. So it's not like Shaklakan's famous, he called it the bodhisattva paradox. In other words, I can't get enlightened until I get rid of my, like I can't go into enlightenment until I've liberated everybody else. But even the idea of liberating everyone else is an act of selfishness, which holds me back in samsara, so I can't ever get enlightened. Of course, that's a wrong understanding of bodhicitta, needless to say. But we can't have this idea that somehow we have to be perfect. We have to somehow realize bodhicitta before we even start practicing bodhicitta. This is a practice we do every day, like I always say, just like going to the gym every week or every few days. The more we practice opening our heart, the more our heart will open, the better our practice will get. Okay, so that's how we'll leave it at that. And on bodhicitta, I'll just leave with one last story. It's my first teacher, again, Kelsing Tarchin, in NKT in the early 1990s in Toronto. We spent a long time studying Lam Rim and the part on bodhicitta. And everyone was like, oh, week after week bodhicitta. And then he told a funny story that when he was studying with Geshe Kelsing Gyatso Rinpoche at Manjushri Center in the 1980s or something, they did, when Geshe taught, he might have taught, like, let's say, a whole year on bodhicitta every week. And which is amazing. Like, he just went into so much detail. And then Tarchin said that, this is before he was a monk, so he's from New England, right? His name was Skip or something. And he said everyone in the class was like, oh my God, Tuesday night, another bodhicitta class. And then finally, he was just like, he's just getting so bored. No more bodhicitta, that he stuck up his hand. And yes, I have a question. Well, what's that, Skip? He's like, we've been studying bodhicitta for 12 months now. And, I think we get it. And he's just like, do we have to keep going on about this? Like another book on bodhicitta? And then Geshe Kelsing said, Skip, he said, do you want to get enlightened? And he said, of course, that's your main intention? And he goes, yes, that's all I want is to get enlightened. And Geshe was like, kind of like, sit down, shut up, and keep studying bodhicitta. Then he's like, this is what it's about. This is all it's about. So everyone wants to jump ahead to the fancy Star Wars Buddhism tantric stuff, but not just bodhicitta is the foundation, but that's the whole point. The whole point is love and compassion. That's the only reason we're doing this. So we have to know what that is. We have to know how to practice that. At the end of the day, it's just about love. That's it. And you look at Buddha's life of all the bodhisattvas, all the great Buddhist saints, all the beautiful deities, all they do is love. Love is healing, love is light, love is wisdom, love is truth, love is everything. That's the heart of our tantric practice. It's about opening the heart. Okay, on that level, let's dedicate this for, again, the awakening of all of us through our bodhicitta, the enlightenment of all of us through our bodhicitta. May we open our hearts. Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.